Alrighty, good morning. Now, let me introduce you to Evan. Evan reached out to me in an email saying that she was having some frustrations and concerns with her hair. So I'm going to show her exactly what mistakes I am currently seeing and then show her how to correct those mistakes so that she can get a more youthful look. And then I have one little surprise for you. Let's read the email.
Hi there. For the first time in my life, I'm in a season where I look in the mirror and I'm struggling to objectively know what I need to do with my hair in order to project who I feel I am on the inside to the outside world. And it is such a strange feeling. Due to a series of circumstances, I've not had a haircut since February. So while the length has grown out, that's not necessarily a good thing because it is so limp and lifeless. During the same time frame, I've stopped getting baby lights through the top, which I was doing to help keep me feeling bright, but also blend my incoming gray. So now I'm two-tone. The new gray coming in at the crown has zero texture and is flattest. Even with mousse, I can't get enough body and grip up there to add any fullness. Too many products make my hair more limp, unmanageable, and greasy. The ends are scraggly, the overall texture is flat, dull, and lifeless, and most days my hair ends up in a bun on top of my head or in a ponytail. I also did a little snip on my grown out curtain bangs, so now I have these weird little side flappies that don't blend with anything else. Oops. I would love to have more bounce and swing with the length and more fullness at the crown and around the sides to add visual width so that my face doesn't look so long. I need a style I can maintain, and I'm willing to put in styling effort a few days a week, although I really don't want to have to do that every day. I also love to have options with my hair, so I can change it up depending on the event or the vibe that I'm going for. I just need a professional to look at me and tell me what will work best on me to showcase my best self. I know this is a super tall order, but I am also confident that if anyone can do it, Justin can. All my best, Evan.
Oh, and if you're new to me, my name is Justin Hickox, and I've been a professional hairstylist since 1995. So sometimes you'll see me in my salon working on clients, and sometimes you'll see me out here taking on adventures while I teach about hair. That's kind of how I roll, looking for views. Okay, so let's start off with mistake number one. Her hair is just too long. Okay, before you hang me out on a stake on this one, I don't mean that long hair is inherently bad or that she shouldn't have longer hair. But she did mention in her email that one of her probably largest problems was simply that she couldn't get volume. And right now, she has a texture of hair that happens to be fine but very dense. And that happens to be one of the textures that gets really, really heavy, actually. And so when you have a little bit of extra length, and especially if there's a lack of layering in it, then you're going to find that it's going to get very heavy at the roots, and it's going to make it really hard to get any sort of root lift or inherent volume up around like the crown or the temple area. Now, another issue that she's running into is the fact that she's also growing her color out. Now, I don't know if you've had like high lift tints or you've lightened your hair in the past, but if you have, then you likely know what many of our clients at the salon refer to as the chemical volume. We actually had a lot of clients that would come in that legitimately got color simply for the extra little bit of root lift it gave. It was really not even about the actual tone. And the funny thing is, you would think that you get a lot of damage and that's a problem, but it's actually that little bit of damage. It's almost like a controlled damage that helps to create that little bit of root lift, especially in certain hair textures. And one of those is either actually fine hair, oddly enough, but really fine, dense hair is a huge player in that whole realm. So the fact that she's growing her gray hair out, I would not say to go back to coloring just to get the extra volume. But I do think it's important to kind of understand that part of the lack of root lift and or volume is due to the fact that there is no longer color in her hair at that area, and her natural color is not as blown out and is not as damaged as the ends that had that color on it. And so that's why she's lacking part of that volume. You know, don't go get color necessarily, especially just to get volume. But with that said, do know that I guess that option is available. The chemical volume. All right. So I want to show you what this would look like if we fixed this problem. But before we do that, I want to talk about mistake number 2, because this kind of plays into it. Her hair is layered a little bit too much at the bottom. So she mentioned in her email that she feels like her hair is scraggly at the bottom. And the reason that it looks like that is not because of the length. It's because the layering at the bottom is so dramatic. It's kind of overdone, and that's creating that bit of scraggliness or thinness at the bottom. It is actually, I would argue, the biggest concern, biggest struggle that I see in a salon. To the extent that you can call the salon and you can tell me that you're struggling with your hair, and I can ask you no questions other than what's the length and is it layered? And if you tell me the length is past the shoulders, for instance, and it's layered, 99% sure I already know the problem, and it's that it's too layered at the bottom. Ask me how often I'm right on that. Yeah, literally almost 100% of the time. It's absolutely wild. And it's actually due to a specific cutting technique that is a very normal and kind of a standard technique that stylists are taught. And if you're not taught how to minimize the thinness at the bottom or when to not use that technique, it lends itself to creating those problems. I'm not saying that stylists are bad. Don't get me wrong. I didn't want that to come off, like I'm bashing stylists. I'm not. I'm saying that it's a very normal technique to learn. And if you don't really know how to address that, it's just going to happen. So that's likely, if you've had that concern, that's partly why. Now, what would it look like if we brought that length up to make those ends look a little bit stronger and to potentially lighten her hair up a little bit? This is what that would look like. Okay, now you can see here from the back, specifically I'm showing the back because this is really where it matters. It does take that bottom area off and it does make the ends look a lot stronger. But while this does fix that problem, it actually creates what I would consider to be a larger problem almost. Since Evan did mention that she can't get volume at the roots, once we bring that length up, if we don't add something else to this shape, all we're gonna do is create more volume at the very bottom. So not only is it heavy and it isn't getting very much volume at the roots, any volume that you would be getting is gonna look like you're not getting any because the bottom gets so much bigger. And so that's all this is doing. It's getting bigger at the bottom and then still nothing at the roots. There's more that we need to do, but I wanna talk about mistake number 3 and 4 before I show you what that would look like. And that rock is definitely not comfortable. Probably shouldn't have sat there. That would have been a great idea not to do that. I just realized I watched that replay of the last little segment I filmed, and man, I am looking real tired today. So bear with me there. I got plenty of sleep. I don't know what's going on. Maybe I'm just old. I don't know, but there's that. Okay, so mistake number 3 is actually her bangs. Okay, so it's kind of not her bangs. It is, but I know that in her email, she actually mentioned that she made a mistake.
I also did a little snip on my grown out curtain bangs.
I don't think there's a problem with her trimming bangs at home. I literally used to tell clients, or I'd show them, I've got videos that teach you, you can watch them, that will show you how to trim your bangs at home. So the problem isn't that she did her bangs at home, but there is a problem with the fact that, one, they're cut a little bit too far back. They're a little bit too square. And the issue with that is that it creates a very kind of square look to the overall shape, and it draws more attention and more fullness on the side. So if we could actually just get those to angle a little bit more and connect actually through layering, have some layering in the front, it's kind of the other concern. If we could do both of those things, then we're gonna get a lot more movement. We're gonna get it to be able to come back off of her face easier, which I think will be a good look for her. And overall, it's just gonna blend better, grow out better, and be more flattering for her. Now, I want to show you again what this is going to look like, and I do have 2 options for her at the end of this video that I think would look great on her. And then I have one little surprise for you. But let me tell you about mistake number 4, is that there just isn't enough layering in general. If the largest concern, again, is the fact that we just don't have any versatility with the style, she's not getting enough volume, right? She's just not getting a shape that she wants. We're going to need some layering. I feel like this is the most hot take that I have. I've gotten so much grief for telling people that all one length longer hair doesn't have the capability of flattering a person's face shape in the same way that hair that is layered does. This is not my opinion. This is simply how hair works. If you want to create more, emphasis to your cheekbones, or if we want to, let's say, lift the eye or lift the face, the only way that we draw attention to something is by, again, removing volume from certain areas to create the illusion of more volume in other areas. The simple way that you do that is through layering. Exactly like Evan's seeing right now with her hair, that length is just creating fullness because there's no layering to take the fullness out of those areas and put the fullness in other areas. So if we were to give her more layers internally in the back break up the layering in the front, and then kind of blend the bangs in and make them balance a little bit better with this overall shape and take them away from being quite so square, it would go a long way to giving her more of the look that she wants and ultimately addressing most of the concerns that she's having. I want to show you some options, but before we do that, I want to take you over because I really want to show you this amazing view of the mountains. Oh, it is one of my favorites. So let's head this direction and then we'll show you that, and then we'll talk about the options. Sound good? Okay, yeah, so you gotta be kidding me. So heads up, behind me, there are like 8 amazing mountains. Also, you can see none of them because of visibility. Allow me to at least give you something, which would be the options that I have for Evan that I think would really work well and solve a lot of her concerns. And then I want you to tell me what you think she should do. And then we have a surprise. The first option would be that we actually leave her length, basically the length that it is now. We would only take the length up enough to take the layers off at the bottom to make them look stronger, to make the ends look stronger. Then we would go in and we would actually connect those bangs into the length using front layering as well as kind of lighten those bangs up a little bit to give her a lot more movement and texture around that area. And we would do some internal back layering so that we had a little bit more movement in the shape. And if we did that, this is what that would look like. Okay, now the thing that I think works for her here is, one, we're keeping the length a little bit on the longer side. In case shorter styles are actually uncomfortable for her, this would be more in that comfort zone range. But it also addresses a lot of the concerns. We're creating the volume that she wants. We're giving her the difference in styles, right? She could do it wavy, she could do it straight, right? She could put it up. So we're giving her some versatility. We're addressing the bang concern. And I want to hit on that very quickly. I almost forgot. She was asking in her email if maybe curtain bangs would be an option. Curtain bangs can be great, but the concern with them is that they are basically reliant on you, for the most part, parting your hair down the center. And when you do that, it means that it's really hard to get volume on the top because it parts right in the center. So for me, if we're trying to create volume, and that is like the number one concern, doing a curtain bang wouldn't really be helpful because it would take a lot of that volume away. So while the actual front parts might look fine, the rest of it would cause issues that are kind of bigger concerns than whether or not the front looks fine or not. So I think a side swept bang would still be the most effective route for her. I just think, again, that we would need to connect it like that. So that's option number 1. So option number 2 is kind of a lob shape. She didn't mention lobs. It sounds like it would be something that she would be comfortable with. But in this scenario, we bring that length up. We add a lot more layers in it, so it's got shorter layers by comparison than the longer shape. We still break up the front. Now, we don't break up the front as much as in the longer option number 1, and that is simply because we need a little bit of that corner to create the bob feel. So there would still be some layers in the front. It just wouldn't be quite as dramatic as option number 1. And if we did do that, this is what that would look like. I like them both, but I kind of lean towards this one, I think, if I had to be honest. But in this scenario, I think this does a really good job of giving her kind of even more versatility between styling it curly and styling it straight. So if Evan dressed very conservative one day, this would have a very conservative edge to it. But if she dressed very edgy, bobs just have a way of morphing, and all of a sudden that same bob styled in the exact same way would just look a little bit more edgy. So because of that, it kind of creates a versatility that isn't so much through the haircut even, but just through the ability for that haircut to morph into the style of the way you dress or the way you're carrying yourself that particular day. It'd be much harder for her to get back off her face in a one ponytail. That's true. So you're gonna lose some of that to an extent, but I think you do a really good job of giving her extra versatility. So if you look at option 1 and option number 2, you see that the front lengths don't look a lot different. And that's because they actually aren't a lot different. The difference happens in the back, where that length for the bob or the lob comes up quite a bit shorter. And then from the profile, it would look like you'd have a little bit more of an angle that comes forward. If you are in Evan's scenario right now and with your own hair, and you're trying to decide which one of these might work for you, just know that that bob shape doesn't look shorter, but when you put your hands back there or you take a shower, you're gonna feel shorter. Now, not the reason not to do it, just more of the insight so that you know what to expect. Okay, now, here's the big surprise. If you want to see exactly what Evan decided to do, and see if she actually liked it. The next week's video is going to be exactly that. She came into the salon and we did one of those two options on her. And if it's not next week or if it's already been a week, then you're going to see that video right here. So I want you to head there, and otherwise we're going to enjoy the view. I swear there's a view. This is ridiculous. Sun flare. Woo! Sorry, but it's rare that I get up actually early enough to go film to see that. Look at that. It's kind of pretty, I'm not going to lie, right? Okay, that was geeky. Sorry.